Hi, thanks for calling the Feminist Hotline. Please hold.
Hi.
Welcome back to the Feminist Hotline podcast.
I'm Harper.
And I'm Dylan.
And this week we are going to be doing a movie review of the amazing movie, She Said.
I'm so excited.
I know, but before we get into that, Dylan, how was your week?
My week was, it was the first week back from school, so
It feels like way longer.
It does. It kind of felt like no time passed. Like, I feel like our teachers spent no time just getting back into it.
No, I feel like we've been at school for 3 weeks or maybe more. Anyway, go on.
Anyways, sorry, we're kind of like eating lunch while we do this, but, yeah. I hate Spanish class. We have to go back to Spanish
We love
class.
the teacher, though. The teacher's hearing this. We love the teacher.
Yeah, the teacher's super nice, but then it's just like, I just hate the subject because I'm just not
so
good at it.
Bad. We don't know what's going on half the time. Anyway, go on with your story.
And basically, she called on me for something. I had no idea what to say. The person next to me, like, kind of mouthed to me what I was going to say. And I said it, but I said it wrong. And so it took forever for me to, like, figure it out. And then after class, Harper overheard these boys, like, talking about, like, oh, did you hear when did, like...
They were being a little... Yeah, but, like...
We kind of do that, too.
Yeah, so we can't be... I was just going to say that. So we can't judge or be offended, but,
I am offended.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, one of those boys, you know who you are. I'm mad at you. I'm not really. I don't really care.
Anyways. Because we weren't talking about you, Harper.
They do, though. Okay.
Anyways, Harper, how was your week?
I have a story. Well, we kind of both have a story.
Yeah,
so,
both of these things we were both present.
Yeah.
For.
We're basically anyway. Okay.
No, we're basically together all.
So we were in the library, and I was looking for poetry books because we have to read a poetry book, and this boy. We were behind a shelf. This boy's head just pops up on the shelf, and it looks like a floating head. And I swear, like, one of us was, like, on something, because we could not understand what he was saying. Like, I was like...
He said, like, mochi, do you want to trade a mochi for a...
Something. And we're...
What was he saying?
Like, we made him... Oh, Jesus. We made him repeat it, like, 3 times.
And then he just walked away, and then what did that other dude say?
He's like, I thought you were going to ask her out. And we were like, what?
But literally, we cannot understand a word
and
he was saying. And also, he was like, I'm taller than Harper on this. And we're like, you're not. We can only see your head.
Yeah, and that was...
I've heard that boy doing some, like, weird things.
Okay, but let's not talk about this.
I've heard some things.
Okay, let's
get right into the episode.
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is how good the movie was.
It was so incredible. I loved it.
She watched it twice. I only watched it once.
I watched it without her, but
it's okay.
Yeah.
And when I was talking about it in class, these 2 boys were like, oh, that movie sounds so bad.
Like, it's a feminism. Yeah, I know.
Like,
yeah,
no.
I heard them talking about it, too.
Like, of course it's a feminist movie. What else do you think we're going to watch? Anyway, it's so good. Please go watch it.
The acting is incredible, and
the message is incredible. We're going to get into that.
Good.
But if you want kind of a summary of the movie before you watch it, you are in the right place, because we are going to tell you what it teaches and all that kind of stuff. So
I feel like you should come back here after you watch the movie, you know what I mean?
Well, and before if you want a summary.
Anyways.
Okay, let's get into everything. But before we get into all the things, all the points of the movie, I should probably introduce it. So the movie is about Harvey Weinstein and all the women he assaulted.
Well, not all of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, most...
I'm like a
small percentage of the women he assaulted, and how it was hidden in the media. And it kind of does say some things about Trump, which Dylan will be getting into soon. But, yeah, that's just what it's about. And it's about women speaking up.
And also, like, in the movie, there's these 2 reporters, and they're trying to get the story of it. And, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first point that I thought was really important is, as Harper kind of touched on, they also, in the beginning of the movie, they did a story about Trump and basically how he assaulted this woman, and that kind of time period in like 2016 when he got elected and everything.
Unfortunately.
Anyways, yeah. And so I thought it was really important that they added that part about Trump because it basically represented like powerful men really abusing their power. And so, yeah. And yeah, I thought it was a really good point that they showed Trump in it to represent that.
The fact that he still managed to be elected after there's like a story on the 24, I think it was 24, correct me if I'm wrong, women that he assaulted. And it's disgusting.
I heard 25.
Oh,
same thing.
Whatever. Well, not whatever. Like, less women the better.
Yeah.
But I just think it was... anyway, it's just really crazy that was able to be hidden. And people are still loyal supporters to him after all this came out.
Yeah. And even at that time, like, did you hear... People got so mad at Hillary Clinton about, like, the work email thing. Like, how she had an email address for her work stuff and how she... Like, what?
And then he's over here, like, assaulting women.
Yeah, I know. There's a recording of him talking about it, and he still got elected. It's insane. It made me so mad. And also, about the email stuff, I don't really know what happened. It could have been bad. I didn't look into it, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't...
Trump is a terrible person. Summary of that. And the movie highlighted it very well.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing the movie showed very well... Okay, sorry, Dylan's eating. You could probably hear it from Mexico. It highlighted rich white men getting charged and nothing happening because they're in the space to shut it down because of the power they hold as just being a rich white man. And I think it was very important that they highlighted it and showing how messed up the system is and how unfairly it treats women.
Okay, so in the beginning, they talked to some women, like the reporters talked to some women, and they said that they had, reported them to, like, human resources, like their managers, like just people that they were close to, and nothing happened, which is probably why the other women were scared to speak up because they were, number one, they were probably scared of getting sued because as we said, he was a rich, powerful man, so it's hard to do that. And then also they were scared that nothing was going to happen.
Yeah, and it's just so shocking to me how women will speak up, but everybody's just scared of this one man, so they keep just following in his patterns of being disgusting.
Yeah, or just not even wanting to have to do with Harvey, but then also just to, like, put themselves out of the whole situation.
Yeah, and Harvey was a disgusting man, and being assaulted by him is traumatizing enough. And he is so... Anyway, we will get into that. We will get into that later. And for people for you to speak out and feel safe enough to speak out and then be silenced by money or other people in power is so terrible. And the women that went through that are so strong and amazing.
Yeah.
So the next thing we wanted to touch on is how important it was that the first woman came forward and talked about what Harvey did to her. Not just to the manager, but with the reporter, because that made so many other women that he assaulted come forward. And it may not have been all of them, but so many women talked about it.
And they also had they talked about it in the movie. They had this quote, and it was like, the only way that, like, this will make a difference or something like that is if they all jump first. Or wait, what did they say?
Just something about...
I don't know. Saying something, they all jump first, whatever.
Not whatever. Very important.
Yeah. The quote... I have it in my notes. Oh, wait, it doesn't say the actual quote. Anyways. So, yeah, they quoted that as well. And it's just so important that the first woman talks about her experience. Okay, also to add on to what Harper said, they said in the movie that there were 8 to 12 settlements, which, if you don't know what settlements mean, it just means that Harvey, like, paid the girls to not say anything about it. And then at the end, it said that 82 women came forward, said that Harvey harassed them.
But, like, way later, kind of, after everything happened. So
what we were thinking is, like, what scared them from speaking up? Because if they said it was 8 to 12 and compared to 82 women, like, come on, like... Yeah. What happened? And then also, I was also thinking, like, was it 8 to 12? Like, was that, like, accurate
Yeah,
information?
it was accurate.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Okay.
So we were just wondering what scared them. Was it the power dynamic? Was it a fear of media being all over them like mosquitoes? Because that did happen to one girl in the movie. She came forward and news reporters are just waiting outside her house ready to harass her. And it's just like so sad that we just, as a world, let that happen to women.
Yeah, and just so disturbing that, like, once they say something, it's like all the attention, like, gets put on them.
And not the man.
And not Harvey, and like, the man in general.
Or they'll be saying how she was wrong, or she's crazy, or whatever. And really, we should have been talking about how Harvey was wrong and crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Disgusting. The next thing we wanted to touch on is, it kind of goes back to Trump a little bit, but the first woman who got assaulted and came out about it by Harvey, she quoted the president and got fired.
She said, because Trump said that she was like a nasty woman, and then she wrote a poem or something, or recited a poem calling herself a nasty woman.
And she got fired, but when Trump says it, he gets elected. And I think that really, we've talked about this before, but the different vocabulary for men and women in the world in general, especially in the business world, is so frustrating.
Yeah, and how people were like, oh, she quoted the president, she's copying off the president. Well, like, what do they mean by that? Like, Trump said that about her. He was just calling it, like, what? Trump doesn't have ownership of the word, like, nasty. Like, what?
I know.
It doesn't make any sense.
And it's just so frustrating, and how women will do something and just get total backlash for it, for doing the simplest things.
Yeah. Okay, and then also this might sound edited because I was talking about something, but then I lost my train of thought. But the sad thing about that situation is that the people that were talking, because, you know, she quoted the president, people got so mad at her for that. But they were probably just trying to find, like, a way to, like, make their president the hero and try to bring a woman down.
For no reason.
Because literally what they were saying made no sense. Like, what do you mean she's quoting the president? Like, what? It made absolutely no sense. And, yeah. Okay, so another thing that they touched on was how the system protects abusers. And how, I think we already said this, but women did come out. They did tell their manager. They did tell people what happened to them. And nothing happened. And also, there was, towards the beginning, the reporter went to one of the women and she was like, oh, I've been waiting 25 years for you to come to my doorstep and talk about this, because they had to wait for the reporters to come to them to talk about it, because when they come out and talk about it, nothing happens. But then when the reporters made the whole thing about it, then that's when things happen. So that's why she was like, oh, I've been waiting 25 years for this. Also, in
wait, can I just add to the it's kind of like the women know what happened to them best, but it's like they don't have their own voice. Someone has to talk for them. And it's just so sad how women can't just talk about it firsthand.
Yeah. And also most of the experiences, like most of the people that they interviewed, all that stuff kind of happened in like the 90s, early 2000s. But then she was interviewing this one guy and he was like, well, why are you focusing on all these stories from the 90s when there's been so much stuff happening in the past few years, or stuff like that? And then also, two women, when the reporters were talking to them, said that it wasn't just Harvey, and basically said that it was this whole huge problem. And they didn't really dive into that anymore because, of course, the movie was about Harvey, but
that was such an important point.
Such an important point.
Because there's just patterns of men in power, and we're not saying all men in power, but a majority of men in power who continue to abuse it and then silence the people they abused. And it's just... In the movie, we kind of touched on how someone talked to human resources and they didn't help. And they said, just tell me if he hits you again. And I think that was a big reflection on how some women look at their assault, because they don't think it's big enough to become a problem or to report, and then it leads...
Yeah, no.
And it's not everyone's situation, but it leads into bigger predatory behavior, and it leads to that man hurting other women and them too.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, thinking that, like, your situation isn't big enough to, like, report it.
And it always is. Don't
ever feel scared to report it. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to say before we kind of like wrap up the episode is that he ruined so many lives, and specifically lives of women who had such bright futures. Because Miramax was the place that Harvey worked at, the place that I looked it up. He started Miramax with his brother. And that was like the best of the best, and all these women were like such like upcoming like talent, and like
most women.
Yeah, of course, but like they had such a great life set out for them, and then he just ruined it. And they also said how like they never, it was hard to get work after that, because it was like, oh well, why did you leave this place? Like this was the best place, And and so basically, he ruined so many lives. And then when he got his sentence in prison after, they wrote the article a few years ago, or actually, when did that even happen? I don't know. But, and then, so he got sentenced, he went to prison, but he's 70 or 80. No, he's 70.
He's just old.
He's old. And so basically he's spending time in prison for the last part of his life when he ruined so many young girls' lives. And that made me so mad. Like, he's only getting punished at the last part of his life. And then oh God, it's so disappointing.
I don't know how to word this, but something that stuck out was, this usually happens, but men, not all men, but men in power, when young women such as interns or starting their jobs at big companies like that, they target them because it's easy to manipulate them and be like, you're doing such a great job at your job. Whoa. Such a great job at your job. And so it's really easy to manipulate them because they look up to those men and they're so excited, and it's just so easy to do that. And there's nothing wrong. The women aren't not smart. It's just they abuse, those men, specifically Harvey, abuse their power. And that's how it leads to this kind of stuff. And it ruins so many women's lives from a very young age of their career.
Yeah, and, one of the women. Yeah, one of the women.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she said the same thing, that like she was so excited to be working, that Harvey was like looking at her and making her feel special and like making her feel like she was doing a really great job. So it was so disappointing that it turned out.
Just to sum it up with the facts, Harvey paid 8 to 12 women to not talk, and in the future, 82 women ended up coming forward, and he got 23 years in prison.
23. That's basically his life then, because he's 70.
And old and disgusting.
Oh, that makes me so mad.
Okay, we have to move on.
But all right, that's it. That's all we have for the She Said movie review. It was so good. We love the
watch
movie.
it. It's so good.
It gives you a great perspective on things. And to the boys who said in our class that sounds like a dumb movie,
it's not.
It's not, and you need to go watch it to get educated.
And get educated and read a book and realize that women were affected by this, right? And it was a traumatizing experience for them, and for you to just discount it, however you pronounce that, for you to just do that and be all like, oh, it sounds so dumb. Yeah. It was traumatizing, and it ruined so many women's lives.
Yeah, we need to have a moment for those 82 plus. 82!
Probably more.
Maybe
more. Do not quote us on that.
Yeah, because 82 was the amount of women who came out, so that came forward.
Yeah, and if you ever hear anybody saying this is a dumb movie, you can go up to them and be like, actually, it's not, because so many women were affected by this.
And I think it was a really important movie, because also, like, for people to get educated on that specific thing, because I didn't know much about it. I'd kind of heard stuff about it, but I didn't know much about what happened with Harvey.
Should we have a moment of silence for the 82 women?
I know.
Okay. Wait, let's set a 10-second timer. 1 second.
Yeah, you guys can have a moment of silence with us
for
the 82 plus women.
Okay.
Yeah, we do 20 seconds? 10
15
seconds? Okay, 15.
Set a 15-second timer. Okay, thank you for participating in that 15-second silence.
And if you skipped ahead 15 seconds...
Shame on you. I'm kidding. No, I'm not actually. Yeah,
Shame on you.
So
Thank you so much for listening to this episode.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed it. This is like my favorite one yet.
I know, this one was fun.
I loved the movie she decided. It was really, really incredible.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next episode.
Yeah.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.